So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to use Monarch to budget your money. That's because in the next few minutes, I'll cover everything from basics like setting up your account to building budgets, to more advanced areas like the AI assistant and everything in between. As a Monarch user for years, I want to share my knowledge with you to become a better budgeter and unlock the true potential of this powerful tool. Now, as always, make sure to watch until the end of this video so you don't miss out on any tips that'll jumpstart your journey from beginner to advanced user. If you haven't signed up for an account yet, click the link in the description. This will provide whatever promo offer is going on at the moment. Right now, it's 50% off your first year using the core plan. There's also a 7-day free trial to explore Monarch before fully committing. So for paid plans, you can either sign up for what's called Core or Plus. On screen, you can see some of the differences, but my take is Core is fine for the average budgeter. If you have small business income or want more advanced forecasting features, Plus is worth considering. Just keep in mind it costs a bit more. There are two main ways to create and access your account. The first is a mobile app available for iOS and Android users, and the second way is a web app accessible on your computer. I do use both, but for this video, I will be using the web app, as you can see, just for ease of recording. And also just to mention, I do have the core plan. Now let's get your account set up. To get started, again, click that link in the description. The actual sign up process is super quick. Then once you're finished, your account is set up and you're ready to see how it works. Alright, so congratulations and welcome to Monarch. The very first step is arguably the most important. You have to make sure your finances are actually flowing in. So decide if you want to securely connect your financial accounts with Monarch, whether it's credit cards, bank accounts, investments, or do everything manually. I personally opt in to use the account connections since my life is busy and I can count on everything to be accurate. For this method, you can click through and add in any relevant accounts. Data aggregators like Plaid are used to make sure the connections are secure. Naturally, you're probably wondering, is this safe? Monarch's website reads, all shared data is fully encrypted to ensure your information remains secure and private. You can read more about this online, but as you see here, it is safe. Now, alternatively, for a more manual approach, you can import transactions from a CSV file. For example, something like a bank statement. You can also add in manual accounts for something that can't be connected online, whether it's the value of your car or cash savings. Again, these inputs are critical as they become the basis for virtually everything you'll see and analyze within Monarch. These transactions feed into charts, are used for AI insights, and things like that. Once your financials are flowing in, we can look at transactions. This is where all of your data lives. So this area shows all your income and expenses. This includes transaction dates, merchant names, budget categories, the account itself, and the amount. This view is helpful because it pulls all of your financials together into a consolidated view. It's especially useful if you have multiple credit cards, debit cards. Seeing everything together makes the experience a lot easier. To an extent, this all can be set it and forget it, but you do need to keep something in mind. It's important to review this area periodically. Most of the time, everything will flow in with the right descriptions. For example, if you spend money at Starbucks or Whole Foods, it'll be automatically mapped correctly. But here and there, if you have an oddly worded transaction, Monarch may need some help. Personally, for my rent payments, the description wasn't clear at all. I was able to dig into the financials here on the transaction page, set up a recurring rule, and then going forward, it's all been fixed. And you can of course do the same thing. Also, you can tweak the description if something should be groceries, but it's coming in at restaurants and bars. Point being, 99% of the time, everything's fine, but it's worth coming in here periodically to review. There's another cool feature that's related. You can actually take photos of your receipts to add more context to your spending. Monarch's AI will basically categorize the line items. For example, if you go to Costco and have a massive haul, you can upload that receipt and have your transactions separated into categories. So whether it's groceries, household supplies, and this is helpful if you want that level of detail. Next, let's check out the dashboard. This is really the main hub where you get a high-level view of your money. This covers areas like spending trends, recent transactions, and net worth. Unlike other budgeting apps, you can actually customize this view to see what you want to. If you're not as focused on net worth, for example, you can hide it and then just rearrange tiles as you want. Even if you don't need to be in the weeds with your money, it is a good idea to come in here from time to time and just get a pulse check on where you are financially. So that's the dashboard, and there are of course a few other sections here on the left, but I just want to jump down into budget. To get started with budgeting, you need to make a key decision. The budgeting type either needs to be flex or category. Flex is recommended by Monarch. It's more simplified and a beginner-friendly view where you set one budget for a group of categories. You have income, and then for expenses, there's subcategories like fixed, flexible, and non-monthly. Fixed is essentially something that's the same every month, whether it's your rent payment or gym membership. Flexible is an amount that can change, groceries, restaurant spend, and then non-monthly is more where the timing's uncertain, like a dentist appointment or a vacation. Category, the other option, makes sense for some people. Here you basically have a budget amount for each individual category. This can be things like housing, which includes rent, home improvement, auto, which includes gas and maintenance and tolls. It basically just pulls all the categories out and gives you more granularity. For this video, I will be using flex. And also, it's typically a simpler approach to start with a fresh month, so I will be doing that here. If you look at the budget area, planned is basically your target, what you're trying to hit. Actual is your actuals that flow in, and remaining is the difference between the two. Now, you can set a higher income target in planned. If your actuals come in better, that's typically a good thing. And then conversely for expenses, if you come in below that target, you'll probably have more savings. Under planned, you can see your historical income and expenses. This can set the targets directionally. So maybe your salary and your income is always the same. You can plug that in for your target or set a more ambitious goal if you're trying to make more money on the side. In a similar way for expenses, you can just plug in that historical average, or if there's a category where you're trying to pull down spend, like groceries for example, you can aim for a lower target. Then as time goes on, your actuals flow in from your day-to-day spending and earning, and you can see how you're trending versus these budget amounts. You can also make changes to budgets for next month, next year, or even further down the line. If you think about it, it's better to go a little bit further out into the future beyond just being hyper-focused on that current month. I like to think about personal finances almost like a business. You want to keep a focus on your day-to-day, but you also have to think about months and years in the future. So with Monarch, you can go in here and say, maybe you know your rent's going to go up next year, you can plug that in. Or maybe you anticipate getting a bonus or a raise and can plug that in when you expect it to happen. On the right here, you can see left to budget. This is the difference between your budgeted income and expenses for the month. It's basically your buffer for discretionary spending or saving. So if you have your income, you have all your expenses plugged in, and you still have money left over, you can just put that into something like savings. I do think budgeting is fluid, so you're really not set in stone with whatever you have for one current month. It's always good to update it, but getting a guideline to focus on, at least in the short term, is helpful. Once your budget's set, the next area is cash flow. This shows your income versus expenses, leading to savings. Down here, you can see transactions by category, group, merchant. It's an area to go and get a little bit deeper into your money. There's also a bar chart and Sankey diagram. If you work with a financial coach or anything, you're able to export these charts and can hide the dollar values if needed. Reports is where a bunch of other charts live. You can filter on time frames, do deep dives. For example, a pie chart, you can dive in and see maybe rent's the biggest bucket or something else. It's useful to see your big spend drivers and get a better sense of where you are. Then we have recurring. As the name suggests, here you can track your recurring income and expense items. For example, your monthly Spotify subscription, gym membership, or paychecks on the income side. Monarch will automatically scan for recurring items when your accounts sync, and you can review them to make sure they're actually recurring. One thing I like doing is using this calendar view. Throughout the month, you can see estimated dates for certain items so you know what to expect, whether it's your next paycheck or your next monthly bill. Then we have goals. And with this, you can set a target to either save up or pay down. Save up could be for a house down payment, emergency fund, or a vacation, and then pay down could be for something like student debt. You can select an account you want to use to allocate funds. Maybe it's an offline pile of cash you have, so you can add that account to Monarch, then allocate $1,000 for a vacation. For investments, again, it's all based on the accounts you've connected. Basically, here you can see your portfolio balance versus benchmarks like the S&P 500. If you have any stocks, bonds, ETFs, you can see the quantity of shares, the current price, gains and losses, a good area to get a high-level view of your investments. You can go into advanced and use this area called forecasting, but it requires a Monarch Plus account. Now let's talk about the AI assistant. I know companies love pushing AI that isn't always that useful. I will say this tool actually is. It's essentially a chatbot that's designed to help you understand your finances with simple prompts. As Monarch's website reads, the assistant is developed with guidance from Monarch's in-house financial experts, including CFPs and other professionals. Also, as a disclaimer, it mentions it should not be considered a substitute for personalized financial advice. Either way, you can access it with this orange sparkle icon. It can save time where you don't have to necessarily click into everything and analyze on your own by just typing in this prompt. For example, what recurring expenses do I have? Or you can even use it as a guide for Monarch, saying, what's the difference between flex and category? If you prefer to not use this, you can actually disable it in settings, but I do think it's useful. Next, we have advice, and this area offers personalized guidance for your finances. You can answer a few questions like what is the most important to you, with options like buy a home, pay off student loans, effectively setting your priorities. Then Monarch will take these responses and offer tailored recommendations. One of your goals is maybe to buy a car. You can then click into this section and see suggested tasks, whether it's deciding to buy or lease, check your credit score, and loan options. Let me know your thoughts on this budget app in the comment section below. Also, make sure to watch this video next to see where I explain common mistakes to avoid when using Monarch.